Yo, what's going on, Zach? So one thing right off the bat that I noticed with all your reps is we keep hitting rim on this first two bars. And the thing that contributes to that is just overshooting. Overshooting, overestimating the pace of the arm that's needed to play that four, the two fours, or that three coming over top of the left. Right? Usually the error is hitting this area right here on that second note, or with the left hand, that three, right, hitting this area right here as well. So again, make sure we're finding, like we talk about with stick control, when we're doing the threes, we're finding those two endpoints on our scrape zones, drum 2, drum 3, or drum 1 and drum 4, and then finding that middle point to give us that accurate placement, not only in the correct habitable zone, right, that about 1.5 inches around each drum, but then just on that consistent pathway, that perfect midpoint. So right off the bat, that's usually the error versus boom, a lot less energy, especially on the fours and the three. Coming over the top. I know coming over the top with a crossover contributes to the idea that you need to move more, but honestly, every time I'm doing crossovers, I usually think moving less. I usually hit rim just by overshooting a lot of times. So again, make sure as we're doing the fours and the three, thinking about that consistent pathway, those start and end point, and then the midpoint especially. Cool. And then as far as the scrapes go, one thing that I noticed that could help not hit rim, it sounds like you have a really good sound quality, right? But the only issue is just hitting the rim, and it looks like we're not, in this case, we're not moving the arm fast enough or far enough, right? So if you'll notice, if I were to play it slowly, like even playing it slowly, I am definitely almost pushing the boundaries of what you would consider a tight zone. And that for me is just security. That is to ensure that I don't hit rim on any of these notes. And I think your issue is usually we hit the primary drum, which is fine in our scrape, but then we're just not going far enough with the arm. So I would suggest for you, and not just you, but everybody else, as we're doing the crossovers, open up these zones a little bit. Usually, again, we're talking about maybe 3 inches. All right, let's move it over here. We're talking about maybe 3 to 4 inches of distance between the scrapes to give us a good sound as far as the zones go. I would say increase it. Who cares if you hit the middle of the drums right now? It's a training tool for you to get used to scrapes and getting comfortable with putting in all this energy. And if we can put in all that energy with having a good sound and a super wide zone, guess what? Your sound quality is only going to improve as we get that zone smaller. And then also just having that smaller zone, right, gives us that nice look. But the overarching concept is just overtrain your body. Except without hitting those rims on the left. Right? I am definitely pushing the boundaries of a close-knit scrape zone. I would suggest going for it and just saying, hey, if we hit the drums today, no rim, perfect. Now the next day, let's analyze how big those zones are and then figure out if we need to curtail them, cut them down a little bit. But honestly, if we're going for those zones and going for a huge scrape zone, that small scrape size that we have right now, if we were to think about pushing twice as much, guess what? That opens up the distance to where we need to be. So just something to think about. Let me know if you have any other questions. I'm pretty sure I answered all the questions in your videos. It was really just about the scrape stuff. So let me know how at least that mentality goes of huge scrape zones and then cutting them down as we go along with the season. Thank you.